So, as I've stated before in the past, we are going to go ahead and take requests as far as movies that you guys have seen and do reviews on them. Now, this movie was actually requested by my father himself, and it goes along with the thread that we've also been trying to do too, which is religious movies. And that thread is, of course, making sure that we review all sorts of movies and just not the typical big office hits. So, sit back, relax, and we're going to go ahead and discuss 2014's God's Not Dead.
Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children.
So, if you're not familiar with the film God's Not Dead, it did come out in 2014, and it does star, of course, Dean Cain, Kevin Sorbo, and Shane Harper. Now, it is about Shane Harper's character, Josh Wheaton, going into the progression of college. And when he signs up for college and is starting his classes and everything, there's one specific professor that he did his research on that he really wanted to get in and have his class, mainly because of the fact that this professor is very well known and it looks good for his college education. However, when he signs up for this class, one of the students who is part of the academics board went ahead and told him, like, you may not want to take this course because he saw the cross necklace on Josh. Now, Josh is intrigued and wondering exactly why, and the kid basically tells him, look, you don't want this class unless if you want to be eaten alive. You're religious. This professor is not that type of professor. So, still takes his class anyways. And the first thing you see, of course, is Kevin Sorbo's character, Professor Radisson. Now, Professor Radisson, the very first day of class, tells every single student to write on a piece of paper, God is dead, which of course catches Josh off guard, saying, okay, maybe I am a little into this, a little over my head, because the professor talks about why he doesn't exist and what type of philosophers they will be discussing during the class, all of which were atheists in the past. Now, Josh refuses to write God is not dead, rightfully so, in the terms of what the professor wants. So now the professor provides him the whole semester to prove that God is actually real. Now, this film, I wasn't really introduced to it as a typical movie audience goer. I've heard of it, I've seen it advertised, yes, there has been sequels, but one that it was like, okay, this seems intriguing, but let's give it a shot. And that shot was all because of the fact that my dad actually recommended it to me, and I'm thankful that he did, only because of the fact that when watching this, Josh as a character is so fluent and so great at wanting to research his own just to prove God's existence, whether if it goes to Socrates looking up what he has actually said and came up with valid points and saying why he's wrong. During this time, Professor Radisson, of course Kevin Sorbo, is in the back kind of taking everything in regards to, okay, where is this kid is going and how can I defeat him in this argument? Because that's the thing. His character, him being as a person, there's a reason why he switched from being a believer in Christianity to atheism. Now, it's not a valid factor if you are a Christian, but he still makes that transition because of what he personally believes. And his main goal is to make sure that this kid fails. Now, all the bullet points that Josh makes is actually very pleasant. And if you are a believer, then it's one of those things where you'll be cheering Josh on throughout the whole entire movie. And to the point where, of course, Dean Cain is also an atheist in the film. And he's more of a side character than anything else because the main focus here is Josh and Professor Radisson. And that's the beauty of it, is it focuses on two people from both spectrums and trying to make it come concluded in the fact that Josh is correct, making Professor Radisson a much more believer. Now, there isn't a lot of cinematography, rather than the shots themselves are really well done. Of course, the storyline too does not falter on any means. It does keep you within the actual story and makes you follow along for the plot and really the end product of what the film is trying to lead you to. And it was very beautifully done. And I do believe that this film does deserve a sequel. Now, I haven't seen any of the other sequels at all, because I believe there are 3, but the film does stand on its own for both the beginning and the end. So I'm kind of curious exactly what the sequels are about, but if you are a fan of the film, let me know. What did you guys think? Do you think it did hold up to the hype that it has provided, as well as, sustained during this time period, or does it kind of falter? That's honestly your opinion. Leave your comments below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel as well as follow us on all social platforms. And we'll see you next time for the next review.